Welcome to lesson 7.2. Our goal here, as you could tell from the title on the video as you found it on YouTube, is to talk to you about strategic plans. And I am going to give you a quick reminder of the different types of plans. I think that's the best place to start. So where we commence with this exercise is in recognizing from this diagram, there are 4 different types of plan. We plan strategically, where we are looking to set the broad direction of an organization. Senior people do that, the conceptual thinkers. We plan tactically, and middle managers will do this. And tactical plans are about what to do in the next 3 months, the next year perhaps, to achieve the strategic plan. Operations plans or operating plans or operational plans are set by junior managers, and they make the work happen here. In addition to this, we realize there are contingency plans, and the contingency plans are the make a plan plans, just in case something happens, just in case. Our particular interest, of course, is in strategic plans, okay? But I don't know if you understand what we mean when I say strategy, so I went and hauled out some definitions for you. And I went to Google and I typed in, as you see it there, that's a screenshot, a simple definition of strategy. What did it tell me? This is what it told me in 0.37 seconds. I just went to the first few results. I certainly wasn't going to go to all 812 million of them. Strategy is a plan of action designed to achieve a long-term or overall aim. I like it. Here's another. A well-defined roadmap of an organization, defining the overall mission and vision and direction of an organization. That's also quite a good one. And here's the Collins Dictionary. A strategy is a general plan or set of plans intended to achieve something, especially over a long period, which in the last lesson we learned was anything from 3 to 10 years. Cambridge Dictionary tells us it's the way in which a business or government or other organization carefully plans its actions over a period of time to position and achieve what it is all about. I told you in our last lesson that the university has a 10-year strategic planning frame, and what we intend doing is making you a graduate. We just want you to work with us as we try and achieve that goal. Here's one more for you. A strategy explains how a company plans to compete in a market and how it intends to grow at a profit. Okay, now we're talking about profit-oriented business, and this is nice and to the point. It says, how will you compete and how will you grow at a profit? I like it, but here's another. Determining how we are going to win in the period ahead, because this is a competition, and your competitors are every other business in the same business as you are, in the same business field as you are. And one more. The science and art of employing the political, economic, psychological, and military forces of a nation or group of nations to afford the maximum support to adopted policies in peace or war. Alternatively, the science and art of military command exercised to meet the enemy in combat under advantageous conditions. Do you see that our original strategic thinking was in fact based in warfare? The warfare that we would have been conducting 10,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago, 1,000 years ago, and which we still do today. We just borrowed the principles of military strategy and conquest to use in business. Now, with an understanding of what this is all about, we're saying that this is why we do strategic planning, because we want to give direction and purpose to the organization, and we want to get everyone to participate so that they can buy in to the direction of the organization. We want to achieve a coordination, and we want to control managers. So I give you 4 things over here. Unity, and you can read these by doing your own Google searches or looking at the textbook. At any one time, only one central guiding plan is put into operation. Okay, so if you define that plan, you can put it into operation. If you don't define it, then a whole lot of people are going to be doing a whole lot of different things. So how do we put everyone on the same page? Continuity means that we're slowly rolling the organization forward. We're progressing the organization from being 1 year old to 10 years old to 50 years old to 100 years old. And then accuracy and flexibility, accuracy being the urgent and priority need for managers to work with current information and all the available information at their disposal, and not to suffer to bias and the other groupthink issues that we discovered in our prior lessons. And flexibility. In other words, contingency planning, make a plan kind of plan. Now, the 3 steps of the master plan are that you make sure you know what the organization's vision, mission, and goals are. You then formulate the strategy, and something that people often forget is you actually have to implement it. You put it into practice. So if we think about vision and goals, we know, because we covered this, the vision is what you can convey to people to get them excited about something, and that's the intention, is to get them to buy into what this dream is. And the mission is how you will get there, and the mission basically has to be a series of goals. So if we look at that diagram again and we say, what are these 2 things? What do they actually mean? I'm going to tell you that if we are formulating strategy, then the formulation of strategy is making it, deciding it, working out what it needs to be, whereas the implementation of strategy is actually doing it. So this is thinking about it, and this is doing it. If we're thinking about it, we're saying, well, first of all, you must work out where you are. And if you've worked out where you are, you can then say, well, what would we like to be? Because if where we are is unfavorable, then what would we like to be? And how do we get there? Because that's really what strategy chooses, or strategy does for you. It is your decisions about how to get to where you'd like to be. Fine. If we look at this kind of planning in a business, we understand that there is a corporate level strategy. And by corporate level strategy, I mean, if we take Steers and Debonaires, which are owned by a corporation called Famous Brands, together with Milky Lane, for example, the corporate level strategy is for the managers at Famous Brands to say, what do we want our brands to do? They're all famous. And how would we like Wimpy, which is another famous brand, what would we like them to do? Because each of those brands is a business, and each of those businesses has to perform. The functional strategy is what the marketing people in Wimpy are doing, and what the marketing people at Steers are doing, and the marketing people at Milky Lane or Debonaires. And in the same way, the operations people at each of those brands and the Famous Brands stable. So if you are formulating strategy, you are saying, what will our corporate strategy be? What will our business level strategy be? And what will our functional strategy be? And how will we get there? Well, you undertake SWOT analysis. Now, you may or may not have heard. You'll hear the term again and again and again, but you may not have heard of this. And if you've not heard of it, I will make you a little introduction over here, but I want you to read about it, and I want you to go to your textbook, and I want you to make sure that by the end of this year, you know what SWOT analysis is. Effectively, you're looking at 4 things. for strengths and for weaknesses, and similarly R for opportunities and T for threats. Okay, SWOT analysis. There we see it right there. The color coding I've done is to say that strengths and opportunities are good things, whereas weaknesses and threats are bad things. But every business has both good and bad. Do you see that? I call those capabilities. You're either capable or incapable. A weakness would be an incapability. We can also look at opportunities and threats, and those arise on the basis of the circumstance that an organization finds itself in. So, for example, different months of the year are quiet for fast-moving consumer goods retailers. We don't buy a lot of stuff in January because we bought it all in December. We similarly buy a lot of things in April because it's Easter, but we don't buy a lot of things in August. And it gets slightly better and slightly better until in November. We're buying a lot because it's almost Christmas again. But for retailers, the months of February and August are not traditionally particularly good ones. And that represents something which they can't control. It is a threat. The opportunity, of course, is to say, oh, there's going to be lots of people who are spending a lot of money in December. So can we get them to spend that on what we have to sell? So positive things, strengths and opportunities, and negative things, weaknesses and threats, arising inside the organization and arising outside the organization. I think you should look at this next slide and take a screen grab of it, and also then move on to doing your own research into what SWOT analysis is. But I want you just to reflect over here, because this video has lasted long enough. I want you to reflect on this. Reflect, please, on the fact that strategic planning gives you direction, gives you unity, gives you continuity, and that's what makes it good. There are 3 steps. Know your purpose, determine your strategy, and implement your plan. There are different levels of planning. So Famous Brands is a corporation, but Wimpy and Steers and Debonair's are businesses within that. And then within those businesses, you are going to be able to look at functional level plans. So corporate level strategy, business level strategy, and functional strategy. We have to do SWOT analysis to make this happen, because otherwise we won't know what we're doing. And the goal of your managers is to work out how to make your business better. How do you grow your strengths? How can you do away with your weaknesses? How can you find opportunities and exploit them? And how can you sidestep the threats, because those are the things that could really hurt you? So what is your plan? I'm saying here that I think what's necessary for you is you understand decision-making and planning. You know that planning is something which you do in order to get to an end game, a goal, and that requires you to be decisive. And you cannot be decisive if you're just guessing, so you need evidence. And the outcome of planning and decision-making is that you have something to propel the business forward, a plan to propel the business forward and deliver on the value promise you've made your customers. That means we have to turn to the next functionality, and that would be organizing. Not bad at all. I think you've made great strides, and you might almost be ready to face some kind of assessment in this. We'll see. Bye for now.